Hello, shoppers, turkey enthusiasts, football enthusiasts, Olympic hopefuls. I'm recording on Friday night with talking all things comebacks today, and I'm sure everybody is back from turkey and shopping this Thanksgiving weekend. So sure, I'm thankful that we are all healthy and can have fun, enjoy our Thanksgiving turkey and Black Friday shopping. Also, check out the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page, see all my content, check out Turkey, everything. And the Big D podcast is always available, Spotify and Apple. So, so unfortunately, New York Jets couldn't come back tonight, but back with me. Hope 20, 2021 U.S. Olympian race walking. One of my dearest friends, Robyn Stevens. So, Robyn, thanks for coming back on tonight. How things going in your neck of the woods?
Well, it's always fun to chat with you, Dylan. Thanks for bringing me back on. Things have been interesting. I'm just training, and after um, a long time off due to long haul COVID. So I just came back in August and I've just been training. I was supposed to be in Lima, but there's some political stuff going on, and as usual, that I've been dealing with the last couple of years. I'm supposed to be in Budapest, but still political stuff going on. So I'm just training,
Yeah, I
hoping
mean,
for things to be better, and we'll see.
yeah, unfortunately, it seems like race walking's not public issue number one in terms of the IAAF or the USATF. Would this be a USATF issue?
This is a USA track and field issue. The
Oh,
stuff I'm dealing with, yeah, yeah. World Athletics is great. They've been wonderful. USOPC have been wonderfully supportive. The disappointment lies in USA Track and Field, where they're dropping the ball. But it is what it is.
so how's the training been since you came back in August?
It's been great. I came back. I didn't really. I got kind of talked into doing the 5K nationals. It was in the middle of my training. I had a really heavy training block because I was under the impression that as the only person actually qualified for in race walk for US for the Pan Am Games that just happened in Lima. I was in serious training to make sure I would have a great performance there. So I didn't change my training around the 5K and there was a mixed relay we did also a week later than that. But I didn't train. I got talked into those, but I didn't change any of my training because we really wanted to have a phenomenal outcome in Lima. And so the 5K went really well, given that I did a 16K and 50-mile-an-hour wind the day before in a tropical storm, and then just turned around and did a 5K. I wasn't peaking with it for it, and then um, the the mixed relay was our first one in the U.S. that we've done. We did it in Long Island, hosted by Gary Westerfield, and I ended up being the top women race walker finisher. You wouldn't know because they go by teams, but if you look at the splits, I had the fastest. Both my splits were the fastest for the women. So it shows how strong I'm coming back, and with only very little training going into that, and heavy training with the focus on being Lima, and then only to find out a week later that the USATF dropped the ball.
I'm just thankful Southwest Florida didn't get any more hurricanes because as someone who's been through enough hurricanes the past 20 years, I know what hurricanes can do. Tropical storms. I'm like, California never sees tropical storms. What's
This
going on?
I was on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was there for the 5K and the mixed relay, the Long Island mixed relay.
Well, so wait, so you were there for that one tropical storm that hit
Yep,
like the
yep,
east?
and I was training in it. I did a 16K in it,
I've
and
got
the
did
very next day did a 5K, and then followed that 5K with a 2-hour mountain session.
I've got a question. Which knucklehead decided it was okay to run a race in 50 knot winds?
Huh?
Who decided it was okay to run a race in 50 knot winds?
Well, the winds had gone down. That was the
Okay.
next day, and it was up in New York, where I was in Connecticut or New Jersey. I don't know, wherever it was. I don't know where I was. I just showed up. That's what I do. I train and I show up in a race. And, but my training was specific for Lima, so I was very focused on that and very focused on not missing a workout. So I assessed, you know, what my risks were, and it looked like I could do it. There was enough cafes open and restaurants. I saw like some kid trying to fight the water was like all the way up over like almost to his chin. But I decided I would do it. I would just do the training because when I was living in Tehachapi, it was super windy like that, the same amount of winds. So it wasn't anything that I haven't dealt with before, and I just figured it just makes you stronger. That's why I did it.
I'll tell you, I love windy workouts because trying to think what's that one song? I'm trying to think. It's what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Doesn't kill me makes you stronger. Isn't that Kelly Clarkson?
Something. It's one of those pop singers.
I know. My terrible rendition of it. That was just on my playlist at the gym. I think it's Kelly Clarkson. Anybody out there, you can correct us if we're wrong.
Yep, by Kelly Clarkson. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yep.
First Kelly Clarkson rendition on the Big D podcast. So what kind of training were you doing? I'm guessing training for 20K, I'm guessing 20K?
I mean, the focus is the 20K, but training for the 20K will still keep me strong for the mixed 35 because the 35K is just two 10Ks for the
Basic,
weekend. Yeah.
basically a 20K.
Yeah, basically.
It's like
Divided. You get a rest. So
that feels like when the cross country skiers would do like a sprint relay or like a mixed relay, you might have like a mixed 2x4, and it's like you run 400 meters, take a minute rest, and go
mhm.
back and do it again. It's like that would seem to be harder than just run all the way through.
Yeah, it's interesting because you have to be strategic and plan for being at rest for about 48 minutes to 50 minutes, depending on how the guy is, whoever your partner is, the male leg.
How do you keep yourself? I mean, how do you rest? I mean, do you try and like just stretch, keep yourself loose, or how do you like judge rest, recuperation, and keeping yourself focused, knowing you've got to do another 10K?
I'm pretty used to it just because in high school and college, I always did at least 4 events. Uh, and then in club, I always did at least 5 events because I always did the mile, I always did the 800, I always did the 2 mile, and I always did the 4x4. And in club, they also had the race walk. So I would do the mile, the 800, or yeah, the 800, the 3K race walk or 5K race walk, and then the 2 mile. And then right away, as soon as I finished the 2 mile, I would jump into the 4x4, like just switch my shoes really quick and go. So I'm pretty used to it. And then also like when I did junior under 23 nationals, I would do the 10K run or the 5K run and the 10K walk or the 5K walk, whatever it was that year, back to back, like the same day. So pretty, like, to me, I just channel that muscle memory, or that, like, just put myself there and keep myself, hydrated and um, ready to go. Smart, you know, you got to be strategic.
don't burn a gasket the first 10K, otherwise you're gonna pay for it coming home.
Yeah, yeah, which is kinda it's the same for, like, a full 20K too. You wanna you just gotta it's just a little bit different, that's all.
It's like you don't see it's like in a marathon, you don't see the runners going off real quick the first mile after winning. It's like, "Oh, we'll see you later." And then by mile 7, it's like they're done.
Yeah, yep, yeah. Yeah, like, "Ah, we'll let them go. We'll see them in a few miles." In
Yeah,
a few For us,
we'll
it's a few kilometers.
we'll catch you at the hills. Or we'll catch you
Mhm. On that final stretch or the final
on the bridge.
5K.
I mean, so obviously you're adept at training in all kinds of conditions. I mean, you've trained in humidity, you've trained at altitude. I would think wind would be different because you don't know exactly when the gust is coming, though.
Yeah, that's what we were actually just talking about. I went to coffee with my family, and we were talking about Tehachapi, and I really like the training there because it's at 4,000 feet and the the winds on average is 21 to 24 miles per hour every day. That's the average. So some with gusts of sometimes 50, 80 miles per hour. So there were times where I would be doing this 7K loop. It's this beautiful loop out there. And the wind would just hit right because it goes up a hill and down. And it would pick me up and drop me. I would just keep walking. So, you know, I mean, the wind would pick me up, so I'm 2 feet off the ground, but that wasn't my fault. But so it trains you. It trains you to build different strategies for if it hits you, and be ready for it. You just
Uh,
gotta train. You gotta
I,
be ready for anything.
I would think if the wind gets you, it might send you somewhere you don't want to be. You don't want to be falling down a mountain at. You
Yeah,
know,
I've almost been taken out. But I mean, in a real scenario, they're not gonna let us race if the winds are that high. So
I
So
mean, because
I've trained in harsher conditions than they'll ever allow us to race in. So
trying to think because I mean, would it be crazy if you train? I mean, you think you've trained like 40, 50 knot winds,
mhm, yep.
and
And
yet
it
you
can be grueling for the mind because it slows your pace way down and you just think like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going so slow. I should be powerful. I should be a warrior and still be able to do my regular pace with no wind in the wind." So, but I mean that's unreasonable, but you know how we are.
oh yeah, especially for me because if I'm going into the wind, and I love going into the wind because yeah, it's not based on speed, it's based on strength, and I'm
Yeah,
like, why
that
is my
fear
mile so
like
slow?
mhm. Yeah, and then it just builds that mentality. It just because it's such a mind blow to see that slow time. You're like, I can do it. I can get just as fast with the wind. Kind of gives you something to target, right? Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, but at the end on race day actually helps because you've got that extra strength, you've got that extra
Yep.
bit of
Yep.
toughness because you've dealt with the wind, you've dealt with the heat, you've dealt with the humidity, you've dealt with awful kinds of conditions.
Adversity. Yeah. It's true. It's
So,
true.
but I would think, I mean, yeah, there are some mountains on the East Coast, but you don't get the altitude on the East Coast like you would in Colorado, Arizona, or California.
Yeah, I mean, that was the big adjustment for me when I was living in Florida last year. So I bought a Mile High tent, the Mile High training tent, and I have it in my room here because where I'm staying here, we're not very high in altitude. So that one, it's nice. You can kind of assimilate. It's not the same as training in it, but you can kind of assimilate sleeping at altitude.
Oh, you have like a recovery tent?
It's not recovery tent, definitely not recovery.
Oh,
It assimilates altitude.
Okay, so it's like one of those things that oh, I see. So it like simulates if your body were like 5, 6,000 feet.
Yeah, you can go up that high. Hmm. You can set it at different altitude. It's usually used for people who are mountaineers, but Olympians use it as well. Distance athletes use it as well who don't have access to altitude training.
That's why that's why that's why some of these distance athletes don't need to be from Colorado
Mhm.
or Arizona. They could train and they could train in wherever and still be great.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just you have to know how to do it right, though. I haven't used it this season at all, but I did use it last year. I'm not sure. um, I have to watch my ferritin levels, which is part of iron. And so I think what it happened was it was stressing my body a little too much, and I went low in ferritin. And then also I didn't know that I had COVID. So now I'm like kind of scared to use it because I'm not sure if that caused me to just overstress my body and I ended up with COVID, or if it was just the COVID that took me out. But I know that like there's some other race walkers that use the altitude tint, and I was asking Anna Cupertina from Portugal how she uses it because she has the same one I have, and I saw her setting one up in one of her Instagram posts, and so I'd asked her for tips on how she uses hers and when, and have talked to Christopher Linke of Germany on just like he doesn't use the tent, he just goes to actual altitude. He's fortunate that he has that support from his federation, but just utilizing strategies on what's available. So,
What have you noticed in terms of your conditioning coming back? I mean, you felt like your old self again?
yeah, I have. I feel it's interesting. Like they said that I should be fine. There might be some malaise. So the symptom that I was having, and this is why it took so long to figure out what it was and that it was long haul COVID, was just this deep sense of malaise. But there was always something that could explain it. Like, oh, maybe it's the stress of moving across the country, or it's the stress of dealing with all the drama and the politics and USA track and field and race walk. And or maybe it's the and so I'm feeling um like myself, but part of it is I don't know if it's trepidation because there's just been so much disappointment where it's like I do the work and I show my results and they just get ignored. So it's just kind of like, what am I doing this for? But I feel good. Like my body feels back. There are times where I feel tired. Pretty tired, but it could be the long haul COVID still lingering, or it could be I mean, I have a full clean bill of health. I just went and got a physical last week. My ferritin's a little low, but it's kind of normal for me to be low. I just have to eat more red meat, and because I generally don't eat a lot of red meat. I just eat chicken and turkey, like ground turkey. So um I don't know, or it could just be the stress of just dealing with all the politics that I've been dealing with the last 2 years.
Yeah, and figuring out whether you're going to run in Eugene, whether you're going to run in
Yeah,
Budapest.
when I'm the only one actually qualified that met the toughest qualification standards and they still don't send me and I have to fight for it, and I'm my own self-advocate because the people who are supposed to be fighting for me are the people who are manipulating sport because they sit on the executive committee. So it's just this double A it's not a good situation, and it's miserable. To be honest, it's miserable. And I enjoy doing what I do and feeling fit and being fit. Um, but the having to fight to be on teams that my merit has already shown I'm like the one that made it. but then they leave me off, is really degrading and disrespectful and disappointing. So it's heartbreaking. It's
I mean, you've been on the biggest stage in Tokyo and Eugene, and it's like now it's like we don't want you there. We want somebody else there. It's like, what's going
Yeah,
on?
and then they don't even perform well. They don't even show proof of fitness. Where meanwhile, I've come back from long haul COVID and injuries more fit than I was at the beginning of the season and outranking everyone on the US race walk teams. And yet, but it's because they make the selection. That's the problem, is those competitors are the ones on the executive committee making the rules, making the selection for who's on the team and deciding and voting on that. They keep me off. So it's a huge sport manipulation issue. And USATF, high performance, don't pay attention to it. And so it's a matter of complacency. So by negligence. And it's a huge thing. And I'm doing it because I love what I do and being fit. But it's like, I accidentally made the Olympics in the first place. I came back for fitness and I made a team. So it's just, well, it is what it is. We'll see what happens in 2024. I always train to be the best that I can be. So that is just what I do. And anything I do and any job that I've had and anything I do, I try to be the best that I can be. And whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't matter how hard you work. It matters what happens. I find it weird that, like, for an event like race walking, some people would end up picking because, like, when TF hosts the Olympic trials this June, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Top three in each event, if they've got the standard, would make the team. Like that would seem like
You would think that. But if they don't have the standard, they still make the team if they're in the rankings.
then you've got a question. Then you've got a problem because I'm trying to think who was the 1500 runner I think at the last Olympics. Like Cole Hawker didn't have the Olympic standard, but made the team and made the Olympic final without.
Yeah, because all USATF cares about is top 3 at Olympic trials. So you could not have the standard, but if you were top 3 at the trials, that's who you take. It doesn't matter if there's only one person with the automatic standard, like I was. Like this past year, I was the only person by the end of closing date that was top in the rankings and had the automatic standard. There was no other race walker, male or female, that had automatic, and they were far down in the rankings. I was high up. But they didn't send me because I didn't finish top 3 in the trials race because it was in January. And then I was coming back from long haul COVID for the 20K this past year. So I had only had 9 days of pre-training. I wasn't even training. Most I had done is a 7K. And so I ended up 5th on no training. And then I was sick with COVID in January. So I was 4th. So even though none of them had stellar times this year, and none of them reached the automatic standard like I had, and none of them had even superseded me. So I had 2 of them weren't even outside of the rankings. They were 52 and 54 at closing date. And yet, because they could remove me, it bumped them up 1, and then they went up. But see, there's a problem with the rules there because you should be in the top 50 at closing without anybody getting removed from the list. So if you're not in the top 50, so they need to change that. Like if you're not in the top 50 by closing date, regardless of where anybody's at, you shouldn't be on the team. But they finished 1, 2, 3. So it's like there's a problem with the 1, 2, 3 because they don't value quality. They're just valuing like that day. And a lot of things can happen on that day. People could broke. And then, or people could, like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of problems.
I mean, look at the 2020 women's marathon Olympic trials. I wouldn't have picked Molly Saito and Sally Kipiengo as 2 of my picks
for Tokyo.
For the women's Olympic marathon trial.
For Tokyo.
Yes.
Yeah. But at
yeah,
least they showed their fit. Like they were in the rankings. They were in the top rankings, and well in the rankings. So
I mean, I don't even think Molly Sider ran a marathon before Atlanta. Like she ran a half. I think she.
yeah, but she had done a lot of halves. She was also a 5K runner, and like it's not like she came out of nowhere.
I mean, I remember Molly Sider at Notre Dame more
Mm,
than, and
yeah.
then she won a bronze medal at the Olympics,
Hmm.
pushing the pace against some of the goats in women's marathon.
Yeah, but I mean, she at least showed her merit. Like she did show up strong in the rankings. It's just we have such a strong American, like we have so many Americans that are in the rankings. Like it's a whole different scenario because a lot of them have the automatic standard. Like we have more than 12 that 20 that have the automatic standard.
Yeah, and then on
So
the
automatic's automatic. So in that case, it's the top 3. It makes sense.
so
But
then
but that's like the one event that I don't entirely I've asked Jared Ward a few times if he would because he's the AAC leader for the men marathon. And so I've asked him a couple times, like we have a Slack channel, like, is there any way like we could chat sometime to just kind of explain to me how that, because I've thought about doing the marathon and how the qualifying goes, because that's like the one I've been tracking all the other events because I'm the at-large event leader for AAC, and the one that's pretty confusing for me is the marathon.
yeah, and figuring out like what's going to happen because we don't even know if the race is going to take place in Orlando because now it's like 10 a.m. But let me tell you this: in February, it might be 85 or it might be 55 here. Lord
Yeah,
knows
I
what
know. I
it's.
remember living there. You never know.
And think back to the last two marathon trials: 2016 LA, hot; 2020 in Atlanta, hilly.
Mhm.
What's this year going to be?
Yeah,
You know what it's going to be? Hellacious.
it'll be good. It'll be good.
Yeah. So, what are your goals for the rest of this year and hopefully next year? I mean, hopefully, run the well, maybe not run the Paris, but walk the Paris, right?
Yeah, we'll see about it. That's everybody else's goal for me. They like to tell me my goals. Um, I am focused on my next career move, actually. I'm really excited about it. I've started a life coaching practice. I'm going to get my full certification. I'm doing a 6-day intensive program from December 4th through 9th. And I've been working with my own life coach for the past couple years, and so I'm really excited about this next chapter. And I don't know. I'm ready. I'm ready to move on and utilize my experiences to give back and impart some of my wisdom. Yeah, and help others pursue getting the best out of their life and um, maybe explore the tools that they have within them for dealing with adversity that comes up, because we all are going to have it. We all have it. It's unavoidable. So that's my big goal that I'm excited about, that I'm working on with this year to start next year with. And then I mean, business as usual as far as training goes. I train because I like being fit and I like being the best that I can be, just out of sheer curiosity. So, so yeah, I'm training to compete for Paris. Is it my ultimate goal? Not necessarily. Would I like it to be? Sure. But with all the stuff that I've been dealing with, I'm kind of disenchanted by it. So, like, uh, once an Olympian, you're an Olympian. It doesn't really matter how many times you go. If you're not making money doing it, it becomes a hobby. So that's what it feels like right now, is a hobby because I've made nothing on it. So I just really want to give back and um, go on to the next thing. But I am training. I am training, competing. I'll be there.
be there whether as a competitor or a fan, right?
Not as a fan, as a competitor.
Hey, I mean, we all strive to be Olympians. I mean, whether you're a race walker, a swimmer, or the 100 meter stall, everybody's goal simple: make the Olympic team. We know 2024 in Paris. I can't think of better of many better cities to host an Olympics than Paris. I mean, I know have you been there?
Yeah, yeah, I was
I
going
know you've been there, and like that would probably be a way to go off into the next adventure. And
say goodbye. It would be romantic, wouldn't it? It was how I started. That was my first country I had gone to at 14 years old, and I went to France and Italy. Paris was one of the main cities we went to, and I came home homesick for a month. So that's how I knew that I was in love with Europe and in general. And so yeah, it would be poetic. It would be nice. I'm just not giving my hopes up because, I qualified for Budapest, I qualified for Eugene, I qualified for Lima, at with like with results that were beyond my wildest dreams. That race in Dudens is one I'll remember for the rest of my life. I hope, unless Alzheimer's kicks in, and uh, my federation totally punished me for it. They didn't celebrate it, so it's really disheartening. um, so we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
yeah,
Uh,
in fact, I remember traveling when you walked in Eugene, and I'm like, dang, what a race! I'm like,
Thank you.
of course, I think they put you at like 3:30 in the morning for the Olympics, and I'm like, my
Oh,
alarm.
for you. For us, it was 6. Oh no. No, it was oh, you're talking about Olympics. Yeah, yeah. It was super early for you. It was PM for us.
They could have put you at like 6 a.m. instead of the middle of the day in Japan.
Yeah, they changed the hours for all the distance events except race walk.
Well, the 50K ended up starting in the morning, right?
Oh yeah, except for 20K race walk. Yeah, so they did the marathons and the 50K in the morning, and then they left us in the afternoon.
So the marathon went from what, Tokyo, which was blazing hot, to Sapporo, which was
Also hot, but they raced in the morning, so they had pretty good, like, perfect conditions, I think.
from hot to hotter, right? Well, from like hot to still hot.
I don't know. I thought it was great. I loved Tokyo. I loved Sapporo. It was a great experience. I can't think of a more perfect Olympic experience than the Sapporo experience that I had. Like, I have really good memories and only good things to say.
The good news is, unlike Tokyo, you actually got fans there.
Yeah, it was really exciting. There were so many people out there, even with COVID, and Japan's way more strict than we are, and we still had a lot of people come out. So,
It would even having a few people would have helped, because would have been nice there. Just like, come on, let's, because Japan's such a big race walking community.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and they're all about loyalty and honor, and so
Yeah, I mean,
it's
like in Japan, if like, I don't know if it's still the case, but if a batter is called out on strikes, he would bow to the umpire.
well, I know it was pretty heartbreaking, the Japanese, their performance in the men's race walk, because they were supposed to take 1, 2, 3 or do really well, and they didn't do as well. I know it was heartbreaking for them. It was a lot of pressure on them.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pressure
They
on.
put a lot of money and support into their training as well.
I don't know what it is, but like there's always pressure on certain athletes, like who, like at the Doha World Championships, there was a lot of pressure on that high jumper from Qatar.
Yeah, because yeah.
Because if you're at home, guess what? You better win. There would have been a lot of pressure on the Americans because being at home, guess what? You've got to win. Well,
Mhm.
the Americans dominated.
Well, we usually do. We got a lot of money to do it, so.
And also then it also helped that we didn't have to fly halfway around the world to uh
Yeah, they probably would have had one more medal if they let me compete in my best event.
maybe in like maybe you could have been like the mixed queen, right?
It was still the 35K last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the 50K is in the Olympics anymore. It's just the
No,
30.
now it's switched as of this coming year. Now it's gonna be the mixed 35, which is two 10Ks for the women or however they decide to do it, and a 12 point something K, 1 2K for the men for the first leg and a 10K for the second leg to make for a full. And then so that's the mixed relay and then the 20K.
That seems weird.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
I'm used to seeing who's the Canadian race walker? Evan Dundee.
Evan Dunphy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dundee like either get third or fourth in every 50K.
Yeah, but he also has strong 10Ks, so he'll be fine. He's strong at all the distances.
You've gotta be versatile in
Yeah,
all
yes.
these. Actually,
You know what I'm excited about? And if I was younger, I would totally try it, is the break dancing. I can't wait to see that. I'm so excited. Like I just love watching it. So
yeah,
I'm kind of envious of if you're young and flexible and strong and you can do that. Please go for it for me. I'd love to do it.
yeah. Let me tell you, Big D's got no flexibility right now. Like my 9-year-old nephew's got more flexibility in her left big toe than I do in my whole body.
Well, but the 9-year-olds and younger are pretty flexible. They like to show us up with that. You
Yeah,
it's us.
yeah,
Did you want to tell me about your injury comeback? You're
yeah,
back from some leg stuff.
yeah. Yeah. I think I may have strained a hamstring.
Oh,
That's not fun. That's not fun.
yeah, that's pretty serious. You need to be very careful with that one, otherwise you have a longer rest time.
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't even know exactly what happened. I'm like, what's going on with my hamstring and my adductors? I'm like, this
Have you
does.
have you seen an active release therapist? Because it
Yes,
might be
I
stuck.
went to therapy for like 6 weeks, and it feels a whole lot better now.
Active release? Because there's all different types.
Yeah,
Active release is specific. Okay, good, good. Well, because you did the 5K the other day, you said it went pretty well. And
yeah.
your mile was faster than normal, so that's good. But just be careful if you feel anything in your hamstring.
Trust me. I mean, I was 1,000% nervous that something was going to happen, but the doctor said, go for it, go for it. You'll be fine." And I took time, and I knew when I started training like 5 6 weeks ago, I had a chance to get ready for my 5K yesterday, and I made it. And by golly, made it. I completed in like 31:36, and I felt every step of that. I felt every step of that race. Wasn't my fastest race, but proud to finish it. Proud I got my turkey leg yesterday,
Yeah. And you
and
felt every step, and then you ate a step. You ate the turkey step.
yeah, and I mean, I'm like, I hope I'm not showing my age with like all these genuine leg injuries, right?
Oh gosh, even the little 18-year-olds are getting the injuries. Like it's just part of the job, right?
Yeah,
Comes with it.
two broken arms, concussion, strained Achilles on the left foot, and a stress fracture on the right foot.
I don't know how you broke your arms running, but
Actually, well, not all running, but left arm, broke this arm once while swinging like a wiffle ball in the backyard. Then in 2002, I broke this arm when I fell off a skateboard. Like I've got no balance in my legs. I
So
broke
you
this
decided to try it
board
out on a skateboard.
falling off on a
I did the same
skateboard. I
thing. I'm
know.
like, "You know what? I need to check my balance out. I'm gonna go on a skateboard." During COVID, I actually wanted to order one of those skateboards that only had one wheel in the middle from Decathlon. I don't know what I was thinking because I've had 3 head injuries, but I was like, "I could do it." I had to be talked out of it.
Yeah, uh, that was stupid. But I think we all
Isn't
learned.
it crazy how we get those injuries? We could like the most serious things we walk off with maybe a little scratch, but then we stub our toe and suddenly we broke our arm. It was like something so ridiculous, and we'll have the worst injury.
Maybe we should have been break dancers.
I know, right? Ah, I am so envious of anyone that gets to do that for the Olympics. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to watch. I think partly like every time I'm working out, my head just goes off to what if I just started breakdancing right now? Because you got to have strong abs. You got to be really flexible. It would help race walking.
I don't think I would not be a break dancer. Big D's not making the break dancing team.
Yeah, I'm not. Robyn Stevens is not making the breakdancing team, not this year. However, well, do I like to fantasize about it? I sure do.
We would all like to be the person, man or woman standing on top of the podium.
I don't really care much about that. I care more about like I just want to be able to breakdance.
Well, I know what you'd be doing at your wedding then. Break
What?
dancing. I mean, you imagine after running your event at the Olympics, everybody saw you like, I want to break dance.
I do. I do. I want to breakdance really bad. I
I know what my
want to
touchdown.
learn.
I know what my touchdown celebration would be.
Your what celebration?
My touchdown celebration
My
would
touch.
be.
Would you do the roll? The head spin? Oh, there you go.
I think I would do a little Michael Jackson in there.
the the moonwalk, the
Yeah.
hat flip, with your helmet. Ow!
I can't believe we're talking break dancing and all the.
Hey, that's all related. The moonwalk is. It's just race walking backwards. Both feet are on the ground.
What in the world has this episode turned into? Moonwalking at its finest. Do you have any life advice for me?
Life advice. Uh, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, Dylan. And you just think about all the stuff you're grateful for.
And one
Like
in
light
being
brick.
you. And one in being you.
Huh?
And one in being you.
And one in
And one of them being you.
your brick?
No, you.
Yeah.
At least have somebody to talk and share those stories, whether it be dancing at them, whether it be break dancing, walking at the Olympics,
Yeah, we
running,
want to still walk. We're gonna break walk.
break
Ooh,
dancing,
at the
walking at the
beginning of
Olympics.
Really, we should do a break dance walk-in.
Yeah, or like you would break dance walk, I would break dance run.
Yeah. Then Michael will moonwalk.
Maybe I need to break dance my next race.
Yeah, I think we both should.
I've got a GoPro.
Do you have a TikTok? Maybe we should do a breakdance TikTok challenge.
No, no, I'm not on
We'll
TikTok.
further injure ourselves. I'm not injured right now, but we'll see.
I'd be washed up by the time I ended.
What's one way to get flexible? We'll just throw ourselves into those moves, hold ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. Instead of Kelly Clarkson's going to be moves like Jagger.
We can blend the two.
All right, Robyn. Thanks for hopping on. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday shopping
Happy
today.
Thanksgiving. I'm very grateful for you, Dylan. You're a wonderful person.
Thank you.
And I hope your leg gets better, your hamstring. Be careful with that.